A few months ago, I said in a video, if you want to start learning pixel art, start small. And this week, I want to show you how to get started doing that in Pixquare, walking you through the process of making these fantasy RPG sprites. Let's jump into it. Hey, my name is Jade, and I like to paint with pixels. Let's pick out our canvas size. For this project, each icon is going to be 16 by 16 pixels. Since this is a very common size used for not only games, but also other assets like desktop and phone icons. If you're making a single sprite to start, you can create a canvas at just this size. To create a set of sprites, we want to have our canvas be a multiple of 16, so we can evenly fit all of our sprites onto the canvas. To start, I'm going to tap the icon in the top corner of Pixquare to create a new canvas. For now, I'm going to set the canvas to be 48 by 32 pixels, which is enough room for 6 sprites. There's a lot of options for choosing what to draw. If you already have a game idea in mind, you can follow through with that and create some objects relating to your idea as a mock-up. But don't worry if not, there are a couple other options as well. You could imagine a few assets from your favorite video game, like items in Minecraft or Stardew Valley. Or you can even just draw objects that are around you. It's all good practice for helping you simplify the object, but still make it recognizable even at a smaller scale. For this video, I'm going to be making icons around the theme of a fantasy RPG adventure. I basically asked myself the question, if I were to go on an adventure in fantasy land, what would I take with me? Once you've picked out what you'd like to draw, it's a good time to also pick out your color palette. If you're not sure where to start with picking your own palette, you can find a bunch of pre-made palettes over on LowSpec. They usually give a couple of examples of what color combinations work good together within the palette. If you find one that you like, you can load the palette straight into Pixquare by copying this section of the URL. In Pixquare, open the color palette, click on the button with the 3 dots, and click Load with LowSpec. Here, you can paste that section of the URL we just copied into this window. This will help you keep icons looking visually consistent by using the same colors throughout. It'll also help you practice working with restrictions, which is another big part of pixel art. If your canvas is bigger than 16 by 16 pixels, you'll want to make sure that the grid is set up correctly to make sure that you can stay within that 16 by 16 grid size. To check this, open the setting and go to the Canvas tab. Make sure the option for Canvas Grid is switched on, and the width and height are both set to 16 pixels. This also makes it easier to move whole icons around by double tapping the screen when you're on the selection tool. To start, I normally focus on blocking out the main silhouette of the shape. And for this example, I'm going to be making a couple of shield designs. I make the main shape 1 pixel smaller than the grid, so that there is still room to add the outline to the shape later on. This is a good opportunity to play around with the overall shape of the object, and once I'm happy with that, I start adding more colors to give the object a bit more shape and volume. Once we start to get the hang of it, and want to make more sprites, we can expand the canvas. To adjust the canvas size, go to the settings, hit the Canvas tab, and click on the button labelled Resize near the bottom of the page. Here you can adjust the numbers to size up your canvas. Remember to keep it divisible by 16 so you can have the correct space for your new sprites. There's a couple ways to try other options and add variation to your sprites. For example, with these sword designs, I started with the base shape and then duplicated it to make small adjustments to create the new designs. For the swords, I found that slight changes either to the length of the sword or the hilt can give a very different feel to the sword. For some objects, it can be nice to just adjust the color or certain parts of the object. A few examples of this is where I changed the color of the ribbon on the scroll, and also the blankets on top of these backpacks. This actually inspired me to make the colors represent different characters within this adventuring party that I've made up. So blue was for paladin, green was for an archer, and red was for like a barbarian type character. It started to influence my choices for other objects in the set as well. So the sword and the shield for the paladin also used a similar blue, and I added more green elements into the bow and the arrows for the archer. Though it's not entirely necessary to create a little story between objects, it was nice to see that this developed, and I think it made the set of icons feel more cohesive by having this visual connection between objects for the same character. I feel like outlines are definitely a stylistic choice. I feel like it's quite common, and I normally do the same, which is using a darker outline around the edge of an object to give better contrast to what's behind it. But I've also used a lighter outline in some instances to make these sprites look more like stickers from our website. Or you can go without any outline, and it gives you a little bit of extra space to work with for your object. It's completely up to you. I really like that you can make this exercise work with whatever capacity you have with practicing pixel art. And it's nice to be able to see that progression all on one canvas. It helped me a lot with understanding how to simplify an object, but also maintain consistency visually between them. Over time, you can go from one sprite to a whole row of sprites, and then to an entire page, all at your own pace. With a couple of adjustments, here is the final result. This is a fun little practice, combining two things that I really enjoy, and this practice is something that I find myself always going back to. It was nice to see the set develop into its own story through the sprites as well. I hope walking through the process of making these sprites has made it a bit less intimidating for those who want to give it a go, but weren't sure where to start. Next week, I want to expand on this idea and make a background to put all these sprites to use in a fun way, so I hope you look forward to that. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to learn more about how to draw pixel art on the iPad, check out this video here, where we go through my process of drawing with Pixquare, from making the canvas all the way to exporting the final piece. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care out there. Goodbye!